back, you guys, to another amazing night with yours truly, Sylvia Camille. I hope you have had a wonderful week because I did. And remember, the word of the week last week was health because this is National Mental Health Awareness Month, and it's also Domestic Violence Month. So today I have a special guest, and we're going to talk about that topic and how it affects our culture and our Black community and any other culture. But before I bring her in, the word of the week is spirit. And you're going to find out why I selected the word spirit. So you might be saying, what kind of spirit is Sylvia Camille talking about? The one that is inside of us is the non-physical part of a person, which is the seat of emotions and character and soul. And our special guest today, Elewa, is a spirit creative. So we're going to go ahead and jump in right on in and bring her into the room. Welcome her in, guys.
Hello, peace.
Make sure, pronounce your name one more time so I can make sure you got it.
Elewa, you said it correct.
And we're going to start right with your name, Elewa.
Mm-hmm.
What is the meaning of that beautiful and unique name?
It is Swahili and it means beautiful.
Oh, and you are beautiful. You are
Thank
beautiful. You are beautiful. So, anyway, I want you to just come on in and tell everybody about your story, your journey, where you are now. You are a singer, a songwriter, an actress. You make jewelry. You do a lot. You do a lot.
Yeah.
Like spirit creative. So, if you want to jump in and start with your journey and how you have evolved into who you are today.
Absolutely. First and foremost, I love the title of spiritual creative. That's so awesome. Thank you. Because I feel like it's a perfect way to sum up everything. Because a lot of times when people ask me what I do, I'm like, I kind of have my hands in a lot of things, like I'm just kind of like a creative explosion, But I started my journey in these different parts of creativity at different parts of my life. And now it's all just a big ball of, creative energy. With singing in particular, music has always been a part of my life. I've been singing since the age of 2 years old. I sang my first solo in church. Happy birthday, Jesus. And from there, it just was a part of me. I was always singing in the church and different gospel groups, even throughout college. And from there, I found my own path spiritually. And but that has always stayed with me, like the church, like that, the root, the foundation of my voice and what nurtured my gifts and where I grew and I understood music on a whole nother level, all because that's where my foundation started. So I went on from there to begin studying classical music, and that became my baby. I loved it. I fell in love with classical music because of my high school teacher who she saw something in me. And when I was in chorus, I always had like a leader like energy, whether I was in the choir at church or in the chorus at school. And she saw that, and she heard a part of my voice that I never tapped into because I just grew up in the church. So, and I sing R&B songs, right? But that's all I really knew my voice to be and to be able to do, right? But she saw something else. She literally brought in a trainer, and once a week I would leave class with this vocal coach and study with her. And then she would start putting me in district festivals and competitions, and I began to win competitions, like scholarship competitions for college. So then it was like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And it went on from there. And I studied in school at Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University. And then I had my daughter, Nasa. Everybody knows Nasa. Hi, Nasa. And, it kind of became a dream deferred. It wasn't, I realized that it was a part of my nurturing. It is not necessarily no longer a part of my journey. It may be something I pick up a lot of opera singers don't come out to their 40s and 50s.
That's true.
Yeah. So I just know it's a part of me. And, but once I had my daughter, things shifted a bit, and I began to focus on her more and nurturing her and, raising her up.
Right.
And I tap more into teaching and just, doing gigs every now and then. And from there, with my daughter and I's journey growing together, we began singing. It was obvious that she was going to sing when she was 2 years old as well. Even at one, I could sing a pitch to her and she would be able to match it. So then our journey grew together, and then we began to get exposure online. And that's how we came across AGI, as Miss Natasha saw us there on Instagram. And then our journey continued to unfold and get even bigger. And then we started training at AGI. And that's when I even tapped into acting. I had exposure to that. I was definitely in theater. I did, plays and stuff throughout school. My brother was also heavy in acting. He even was in a movie with Angela Bassett. So I got to experience what it's like to be on a movie set. So all these little things have always been a part of me, and I've seen them at some point in the road. But now it's all, like I said, coming full circle. Jewelry, that came from my partner and I having a date night, and we just wanted to do something fun and different. It was like, let's try to play around with some copper jewelry. And that literally just I didn't even know
the pieces are amazing.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And it was the same thing with painting. Painting happened at the same time. So even with painting, I was drawing a lot when I was young, and I got that from my brother. So I knew I had something there, but I never knew that it would be what it was. And same thing with jewelry. I've always been into fashion, but I didn't ever think that I would be creating jewelry. So now it's all kind of, coming together in one piece. And I'm loving that. I'm loving that I'm here now, where everything is starting to make sense and click, excuse me, and, be cohesive in a way that I never, envisioned it to be. So I give thanks for that.
That's good. I love it. A beautiful journey, a beautiful journey. Out of all of those spiritual gifts that you have, and I love that what you say, they're spiritual gifts, which one do you love the most?
Music, singing, absolutely.
Okay. Tell us, what are some songs that the title of your songs that you have out so that the viewers can go and pull them up and where
I do not have music out. I am a work in progress. And that's an interesting part of the story, because, I'm now in my early 30s. I'm just beginning to accept and view myself as an artist. I've always loved it. I've always loved to express, but I'm just now tapping into, claiming myself to be an artist and beginning to walk in that and, record and things of that nature. So coming soon, but
coming soon. All right, guys, coming soon. But go ahead. This is a good time to put a plug in for your Instagram. It's
Elewa _ELEWA.
Right. Now, I want to talk about that journey coming to this point. You said it's coming soon. So what transpired? What was your turning point that you said, this is the time, this is now?
I would say it was the way that Spirit began giving me songs. One of my two of my loves, two of my songs that I just absolutely have so much admiration for and appreciation for. They came to me in spirit in such a unique way. One of them is called Boxes. And that song is, it came from a very dark time in my life. And Spirit literally gave me the song in my sleep. And I woke up out of my sleep in tears, and I just kept hearing the melody over and over again. I just had to go to my phone and record a voice memo. And I didn't have any words. But over time, Spirit revealed to me, reminded me that there was a poem that I just, randomly wrote on Instagram one day. And I was just, sharing and building upon the fact that many of us, we walk into relationships in a haste to get that person settled in. We move in all their boxes. And the lyrics of the song speak to that. Like, I unpacked all of your boxes in a haste to get you settled in. But now I look around at all the mess, not knowing where to begin. If I would have just took my time to look around, and assist you in discarding what was not needed, I would not be here surrounded by all of your boxes wondering why there's no room left for me. And I realize a lot of us go through that. A lot of us go through
Oh
that.
my God, that was
Yeah.
when you were reciting that. Do you know I was visualizing you like in a juke joint club somewhere, and you stand up there. Do you do poetry night sometime? Because that was beautiful.
I'm literally diving into all that now. It's just spirit just like go and pushing me. Even you know, asking me to do this was further confirmation in a way that you didn't even know, you know. Um, so no, I haven't, but I plan to. And I plan to
Oh
share,
my
you
God,
know, that
that was
understanding.
beautiful. How you just started right off the cuff, and I could see, the jazz playing behind you, and you on the stage.
Mm,
Oh, that was amazing.
thank you, Sylvia. Thank you.
I loved it. I love those words. Those are powerful,
Thank
powerful
you
words.
so much. Thank you.
Now I got to tap into that spirit, because you are a spirit creative, and at the age that you are, and you said at a young age, being in church, what is that feeling that you feel down here in your gut, like right here, that spirit that overcomes you? Like when you
Mm-hmm.
were just reciting those words, what spirit? What did you feel?
Mm. It's like a deep level of understanding of my own journey and realizing that I'm merely a reflection of you and everyone else that would even be experiencing that song. So, spirit, that energy, even how you felt like what I was saying, that's because you can resonate with that. Even if you literally didn't go through it, you can understand. You know what I'm saying? So, for me, what I felt in that moment was just the understanding of being the reflection of everyone that is receiving that message.
How important is it for us to feed our spirit positive energy? Because there's so much in the world going on. And we're in a national pandemic. We've been in it now going on 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you do to keep yourself in that vibe, with everything going on around you?
Mm-hmm. I meditate.
Mhm.
I take time to be quiet and be still and listen to the voice within. The voice within is me. The voice within is God. I journal. I talk to very, very special beings in my life that I have beneficial connections with. I can confide in them. They can be my therapist. Um, yeah, I would say those are the main things. And of course, I sing. Of
Yeah.
course,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's a sense of expression too. I'm
Mm-hmm.
happy you said therapist, because it's going to lead us into another little topic we're going to talk about. This is
For sure.
National Mental Health Month.
Mm-hmm.
And we know sometimes in our Black families, we don't want to talk about it. So,
Mm-hmm.
what is your position on national mental health, and how important is it for us to embrace that people are struggling and they need to sit down, like you said, with a therapist? So, what is your position on that?
I absolutely agree about therapy being beneficial to us. I know a lot of us are still struggling with that and accepting that,
Hmm.
but it's definitely necessary. I realize even in having the meaningful connections that I have friends that are so connected to me. One person in particular, that my sister, where it's like we can literally speak for each other. That's how in tune we are with one another. And
Mm.
she could tell somebody how I feel about them. You know what I'm saying? Or speak for me in a situation maybe when I couldn't stand up for myself and say everything that I would have said. She just said the same thing about me the other day. So I realized in having connections like that, that most people don't even have that. They don't have someone to just talk to, and we lock everything up inside of ourselves, and then that manifests in the form of dis-ease within our vessel, right? So it might show up in our skin and our hair. We find out that we
Mm.
have cancer. We find out that we have a brain tumor. All of these are reflections of
Mm.
where we are mentally and spiritually. And a lot of us are still struggling to accept that as well. But what's within will definitely come out.
Will come out.
Always. Mm-hmm.
I'm listening to you. You said you're in your early 30s.
Mhm.
Was it hard for you? I mean, even though growing up in the church, sometimes it's hard for people to relate or talk about openly about their relationship with God as a child. Did you have that problem now?
Did I have a problem talking about my relationship with God?
Right, your spirit, your no being, I guess, knowing it and believing it and not having fear. Because I remember when I had my first spiritual encounter with God, it
Mhm.
frightened me. I'm like,
Mhm.
oh, what's going on here?
Right.
But as I got older, I understood, and the more, like you say, in tune with it through prayer and things like that, and building that connection relationship. So, did you have that struggle? Did you go through that?
I believe that I did, but I feel like mine was more so from a place of I was nurtured, and reared in the church, but I always knew that there was something different about me. So I can say that there might have been a level of fear of like not understanding why um, my journey, my path wasn't the same as everyone else's. And
Mhm.
even as I became an adult and came into more into form, right, and more understanding of myself and what it is that I'm called to do, there was a level of fear even outside of myself of what people would think about it. You know what I'm saying? And then as I began to walk in that, it's like it's a whole new world outside of what I was trained, what I was reared, what I was told, how my relationship with God, what it should look like, right? So I feel like my fears were centered more so around that, like already knowing that I was like set aside, and it's like, what does that look like for me? And then will people accept me? Will people still love me? Because, I didn't, stay locked into the church. They say train up in a child in the way you should go. So it's like, I don't want to disappoint my mother. Right. So I
Right.
think that's where most of my fears
Yeah.
were. It
Right.
wasn't about specifically about my relationship with God. It was more so like the hows and then the acceptance and, just all the energy that comes with that.
Mhm. From outside sources.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm,
because
for
you
sure.
felt it and you believe it, and it's in your walk is there in
Hmm.
your talk, but the outside noise. So I
Hmm.
want to ask you what three spiritual advice or guidance you would give to anyone who's listening who may have know of a loved one who's dealing with mental health. What would you say?
Okay. I love that you asked this question, and I love that I had time to reflect on it. We're speaking specifically about mental health, or are we adding in? Are we speaking about the domestic violence as well? Right? It's all one and the same.
Yeah, you can combine both of them because it's
Okay,
Domestic Violence Month as well.
right. So that's the place that I came from when I was reflecting on it, and that's another thing that you don't know is that I have experienced a level of domestic violence, and it was mental and verbal, emotional, like spiritual abuse. And it wasn't from a place of like maliciousness. It was something that it was very low key, kind of eased up on you, and then you look up
Mm.
one day and you realize, like, like, where's my mind? Like, where am I? Um, so some of the things that I reflected on is some of the things that were important to me in kind of coming out of it, things that I realized, because I'm not even 2 years removed from that. So I'm still on my healing journey from that, and I've learned so much. One of the main things is to um, take the time to locate the source. Right?
Mm.
You hear a lot about like inner child work, right? You hear a lot about how we were as children and what we learned, what we were surrounded by. It all cultivated us, our being, our thought processes, how we relate with people. So even if you look at your childhood and you can look at it and say, was it stable? Did you feel safe? Were you in a chaotic, disharmonious like environment? Because if you were, then you might see reflections in yourself of low self-esteem, trouble
Mm.
forming, like meaningful and healthy relationships in your adult life. You might have bouts of rage. You might not be in control of your emotions, might struggle with addiction, right? There's always a source. There's always a source to it. And um, there's always patterns. But in locating the source, I wrote down a few things that I did to locate the source. And I was taking moments to be still and silent, literally for like days. And I just journaled and I meditated and I sat with my thoughts. I removed the thoughts of everyone else and I just sat with myself and I sat with God. And there is where I found a lot of answers. Um, and as I've continued the journey, I've also looked at patterns. Patterns, the answer is always there in your patterns. So even when you hear about like breaking generational curses, the generational curses are more so like learned behaviors, right? So if you saw a man, beating on your mother, then you might try so hard not to be the man that beats on a woman, but then you end up being the man that a woman is beating on. Yeah. And it's I've married myself with my patterns in such a way that I recognize them as soon as they show up. I'm like, oh, I already saw this. I saw this, like 2 years ago. Right? I know.
Like,
Listen,
I already know. Okay.
Okay, God, I see what you're doing here, right? And so now I'm so in tune with them that when they show up, I know what to do. I know what's for me. I know what's not for me. I know that if it's showing up again, that there's something there that I haven't learned just yet. And I need to sit with that. So taking the time to locate the source and looking at your patterns and really understanding them, accepting them, and doing the work is what will get you to your answer. So we can say that's like one or two things. Another thing that I wrote down is to remember that it can happen to anyone. You don't deserve it. It's not something that you deserve. It is important to take accountability for the things that you experience because there is a level of allowance. And that allowance also goes back to your patterns, right? And the source of which it even came from, why you would allow a certain energy in your space, because we attract everything to us. We're responsible for the things that happen to us, to the environments that we find ourselves in. So even with abuse, and specifically like mental abuse, I feel like all of the forms of abuse have mental and like verbal abuse in it. And that's why they say it's like the worst, because it's such a subtle form of abuse. Like you won't even realize that it's happening, right? But in me saying you don't deserve it, something to realize that I realize is that oftentimes people will play on and they will manipulate you and gain more power by using elements of truth. So something as small as you having an attitude could be blown out of proportion, and someone could make you seem like such a dark person, such a terrible person, and they'll play on that one thing. This is just a small example, and they'll use elements of truth about you and they'll make them so massive and define you by them and corner you with those things. And then you'll begin to look and be like, am I really, that terrible? Maybe they're right. Maybe I do deserve this. I think it's just always so important to remember that you don't deserve it. And I remember even, talking to my sister as I was going through things, and I would talk to my sister like every day when I was coming out of my situation, and she would just call me just to tell me, you have the right, and just remind me, you have the right. You have the right to leave. You have the right to make this decision for yourself. And I think that is like a very, very key thing, is just to remember that you don't deserve it and you have the right to walk away, no matter how, dark, your situation may seem. You have the right.
Why do you think people stay?
Because they feel that there is no other way. They might be trying to uphold a certain image, maybe how they projected themselves into the world.
Yes.
You don't want to disappoint people. You don't want to prove some people right, because some people might have given you, they might have told you, like, look at that warning sign, but you didn't, right.
But you didn't listen. You didn't listen.
And I do feel like it plays back into what I said, like feeling like you deserve it. Because it could be after a series of, maybe you just lost a real good man, you know what I'm saying? And then you end up with a man that doesn't honor your being. And so you're like, I deserve this. Look at what I just let go. It's so many reasons that you could feel like you deserve it. Some people hold on because of their children. I feel like it's a million reasons as to why people hold on.
And I wanted to ask you, what was your breaking point for you to walk away?
My breaking point, I feel like it was more so a moment of realization, and it was when I took like 4 days of silence. I would do like regular talking, like engaging with my children and everything, but I just really took time to be selfish and sit with that inner voice and sit with thoughts. And like you said, your first spiritual encounter with God was like, and I was just having spiritual encounters that were blowing my mind, all because I took the time to sit and be still and listen. And when I did that, all my answers were right there. So that goes back to what I was saying about being able to locate the source and look at my patterns and, just really, it's like almost like removing yourself from the situation. You know how when you tell somebody a story about what you went through, like you're just talking about it. You're just like, yeah, I went through this and that. And it's like, once you say it out loud, you're like, I went through that. That's like, it sounds like a little crazy to you. Or you might even notice the reactions of other people, because the outside in view, that often has like a negative connotation to it, but it's so beneficial because sometimes you're so in something that you can't see your way out. You can't see anything outside of it. And doing that, it removed me from just looking at the beauty. I feel like that's another reason why people stay. It's because you hold on to the beautiful moments and you allow those to wash over and overpower all of the things that are just ugly. And those things are way more important and they actually supersede the beauty. So I feel like, it's just when I really sat down and I was still, I got all the answers. And it took me maybe like another 6 or 7 months. And during that time, I just asked Spirit, to confirm if I am right in my thinking, if I'm supposed to leave, because I knew it was so many, odds stacked against me. And, it just didn't even seem logical. There was nothing logical. There was nothing that even seemed like it would align in my favor for that to make sense. So I took that time, like, Spirit, let me know, show me. And it was all revealed. And it was like one day I woke up and I literally felt like I was, like trapped in a box. And it was just like, okay, it's time to go. And the way Spirit speaks to me, it's heavy, it's real, it's true, and I don't ignore it. So when I knew. And at that point, it's, they say when a woman's fed up, ain't nothing you can do about it.
Yeah. When a woman, that's it.
Right.
I can't take no more.
Exactly. So I feel like all of the work that I was doing on myself, all of the work that I was doing over time, it brought me to the moment of strength where I found the strength. Yeah.
That's a beautiful story. That's very inspirational.
Thank you.
So anyone who might be going through a domestic violence situation, mentally or physically, they need to hear this interview to let them know. And I was taking to find out what your source is. Look at your patterns. Don't deserve it. Tell yourself you don't deserve it. You can come out of it. Now I know, Elewa, that a song is something gonna be birthed from this experience.
Yeah, that was the Boxer song. That was when I took that 4 days of silence. Like I woke up out of my sleep, and it was all there. And then from there were more songs birthed during that period of time. So yeah, and I'm sure there's more.
Okay. Do you have a time frame on this? Because this is gonna be good.
That first song, I should be sharing that like within the next few months. It shouldn't be long at all.
Awesome. All right, guys, you hear it. You heard about it first on Where Sunday Night Live with Sylvia.
Yes.
So we have to have him come back once it's released and we talk about it. Oh, that's amazing. Now, on my show, my mantra for the show is Sunday Night Live with Sylvia Camille, Dream Big. Because I'm a dreamer and I had a big dream is to be a singer and an actress, go to Hollywood and do all those things. But life,
And you will.
And I will. That's right. That's right. And I'm doing it in a small place. I'm doing that's right, and I will. So I want to know. I got to bring out my dream big pillar. What is your biggest dream? And it doesn't have to be with
Mm.
singing or acting. You know, it's just like, what is your biggest dream in life?
My biggest dream is that my walk, my journey, my testimony, my strength, my ashe, it's all shown and reflected in all of my spiritual and creative gifts, and that I pour that into the universe and heal and bless and comfort millions of people. I know that's why I'm here. And that dream will manifest. It is already in the process.
I love it. Now I got to know you. I have to ask you this. Because in class, when talk about your meditation, what you presented in acting class, because I just can see you when you were talking and telling about your dream. I was visualizing you doing that. Like, okay, I can see her now. Okay, how do you come to that place and that feeling? I just love it.
With meditation, it's all about repetition. It's all about being intentional and taking the time to sit. It's really hard to sit and be still. And a lot of people, they tell me like, I don't know how you do that. I can't, my thoughts just going a million miles a minute. And it's like, yeah, you sit and you allow those thoughts to go. You allow those thoughts to pass through. And the more you do it, the more the quiet comes in, the more the stillness makes sense, and it just becomes a part of your being in a way that you're like a walking meditation. So I feel like it just comes from being intentional about it and
How long do you sit
repetitious.
and meditate?
Well, I have 2 children, and I'm in a house with 5 children. So it's not long at all, but when I do have time to go in, it's like I can sit there for an hour for sure. But for the most part, it's gonna be like 15, 20 minutes. Yeah.
It's powerful to watch you do that. It really is. And I
Oh,
want
thank
to
you so
challenge
much.
anyone listening. We all a part of this week. The word of the week is spirit. So we need to
Mm,
find some time to sit with our spirit for about 15 minutes and just let those emotions and those feelings flow. Don't try to interrupt them, and just we might end the show like that.
mm,
5 minutes to go in a quiet space of
mhm.
spirit. I love it. I
I
love it.
love it.
I love it. Okay,
Mhm.
some more. Okay, so I'm still on this music hit with you. Um, the creative space for that, is it jazzy? What genre? Because I know you trained in classical and everything. So is it jazz, blues? What we're gonna have here?
It's just soul music. It's just spiritual soul feeding music. I really wouldn't even put myself in a genre.
Okay.
Um, I have influences
Okay.
that are
Let's hear
within
about those. Who
genre.
are some of those influencers?
So India Arie is my all-time
Okay.
favorite singer.
Mhm.
Brandy, she is a vocal reference, a vocal genius to me. Um, Mumu Fresh, she has been a beautiful reflection just in spirit. She's also an indigenous woman, and she was raised heavily in that culture. And all that's reflected in her music and in her ashe. That's how she carries herself. Yeba, she sings like it's like we breathe. Like it's like, how do you even so yeah, and all of them kind of dabble in different areas. So it's kind of even hard to put myself in a box because I go to different places to, like learn and receive and even expand in my gifts.
Mm. So I know some of those people you would like to collaborate with are Brandy.
I would definitely love to sing with India. Yeah, for sure. For sure.
We're putting it out there in the atmosphere.
Yes, it's in the atmosphere.
Putting it out there. What what is gonna be your message for your people when they do hear? Is it gonna be titled boxes?
Mm-hmm.
What is gonna be the
Boxes.
message for anyone when they hear boxes?
Mm. Don't be in such a haste to, welcome someone in your space to where you're not being responsible um, with your own boxes, with the things within yourself that you need to unpack. Because you can do that, you can move someone into your space, and I'm not even meaning literally like physically. Just you meet someone, you're so excited, and you're just like, especially when there's a certain synergy there, and it's just like, I know who this person is, I know they're the one, and you move people in such a haste in your space, not realizing like all that they come with. And when
Mm,
you do that, you don't take time to really learn the person and understand their darkness, their traumas, their inner child. Those things are very, very important in, in joining and merging yourself with someone else. So yeah, just don't be in such a haste. Like, first of all and foremost, take the time to do that work and that unpacking within yourself before you even move someone else in, or else you'll look around with all these boxes around you, wondering why there's no room and no space and no peace for you.
that's powerful. That's a book too.
Thank
You
you.
know, that could be a book. Are you working
Thank
on
you.
one, LOI?
I'm not.
Oh,
I'm not. I feel like I'm already doing too many things and I'm still striving to. But
I
thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, because it makes so much sense because that's right. Women who are yearning for love, or anyone, because we all deserve to be loved. So, and if you haven't had that in a while in a relationship, and someone comes along, you rush into it like, oh, it's women. Oh, we gonna get married
Mhm.
next week, and you have not unpacked all the boxes. All that. I mean, the way
We
you
all do it. We've all done it.
Yes, everybody has done it because I mean, you get it. You in love. Oh, he like me. I like her. Ooh, ooh,
Hmm.
ooh.
You feel all the feels.
Yeah, he's attractive. She attractive. Oh, he made me. Oh, he made me blush.
Yeah.
So I get it, and the way
Hmm.
that's just beautifully how you stated it. It's just beautiful.
Thank you. Bless
Woo!
you.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Now let's talk
Yay.
about this little acting bit too. Let's talk about this acting.
Hmm.
So, you did act a little bit when you were in school. Now,
Hmm.
have you been in any projects?
I have not. I have not. I did like I said, my brother was in a movie called Sunshine State with Angela Bassett. It was like a low budget film.
Mhm.
But it was really nice. It was a nice experience. I was an extra. And whenever I watch the movie, I zoom in. I'm like, that's me right there on the beach. See, that's me in church. Look, look. So that was a nice experience. But no, nothing recently. Nothing recent. Like the last time I was on stage like that was like shortly after college.
Okay, you in
So yeah.
stage plays.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, you're gonna get there. It's coming. It's coming.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's talk
Mm-hmm.
about this COVID. COVID been going on now. What is your take on COVID? How you feel. I know you spiritually getting through it because you meditate and all of that. But have you had any losses in your family? I hope not. Or had any, negative experiences. And for some
Mm-hmm.
people, it's become very positive because COVID shifted their mindset for them to do things that they thought they never would do if they were at a 9 to 5.
Exactly.
Did that happen to you?
Exactly. I did lose family members, but it was they were a bit distant, so I didn't really my personal life was not impacted by it, but my parents were, so I did, experience that through them. But just myself,
Mm-hmm.
it has been like the greatest like reflection. It's like the stillness that I'm talking about within myself is like I felt that within the universe. Like for the first time, I felt like everybody had to be still.
Mm.
Everybody was forced to look at themselves.
Yeah.
Everybody was forced to see what was actually happening in their life. Everybody was forced to see the ways that they were detached from your children, how much time you don't actually spend with your children,
Yes.
and nurture those relationships, right? So I think that it has been such a beautiful time. It's all about perspective. Um, and I feel like that's what I focus more on than, what's being fed, because what's being fed is a whole lot of fear. And if you wallow in that fear, then those things will grow inside of you and you will attract that energy. So I just, I felt that it was just important to focus on myself and lean into myself and my family more, and just, look
Mhm.
at it from that perspective.
Positive. I
Yeah.
love it. Positive energy. So, what is your biggest reward you feel from all your gifts? What is your biggest reward that you feel?
Hmm. My biggest reward from all of my gifts is that it's brought me to myself, to my truest self. Yeah. That would have to be it. Just sum it up like that.
It brought you to your, oh, that's profound. That's profound. Because do you know how many people who are not living in their pureness of themselves, when they look in
Yeah.
the mirror every morning, they might be doing something that is not even relatable to what is their true. You're walking in your gifts and you know what they are each day.
Hmm.
So you give out that energy.
Absolutely.
How long did it take you to get there?
Mm. Yeah, till I was 30. When I turned 30, they say something happens when you turn 30, but it's like the light bulb just went off. And from there, like the last couple years have just been like just further understanding myself and what I'm here for. And it's like anytime that doubt even creeps in a little bit, spirit will just come and just reconfirm, and yeah,
So what would you
yeah.
tell the little Elewa, 7 year
Mm,
old Elewa? What would you tell her?
mm. You are enough. And it is okay to shine.
Hmm,
Yeah.
you are enough. You are enough. That's bringing tears to my eyes.
Yeah. That you are enough is real. Yeah. Struggled that for a long time. Long, long
You,
time.
you are enough. And don't be afraid to shine.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay to shine. Woo! Woo. Well, okay, we're about to wrap up, but this is what I want us to do because I want the viewers to experience what I saw in acting class with you.
Mm,
And we won't have to do it too long. But I know this is definitely a part of how you balance everything, your self-care in your life, is it not? Your
mm-hmm.
meditation. Or is
Absolutely.
this your biggest? Like if I ask you right now, how do you balance all this in your life as a mom and everything else you're doing?
Yeah, I would say that it is just like a conscious effort to better myself every day. That's what keeps me grounded. So every day I'm always looking at myself in the mirror. I'm always striving to level up from yesterday. And I feel like that's what keeps me like balanced and grounded, to the point where like I'm a walking meditation now. It's not, something I have to sit down, because I go days without meditating. So I'm not even trying to project myself to be like this, like I'm all zen all the time. But it's
Right.
just a part of my being now.
Mhm.
So I wouldn't say that that's number one. I think it's just number one is me doing the work every day.
Okay, I want us to meditate. I want you to lead us
Mm-hmm.
in a quiet meditation for about
Mm-hmm.
35 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Because I want to dedicate this time with my viewers and with your viewers and friends who's watching, because it's important for us to take care of our mind. Everything
Absolutely.
is going on, it's natural. And I looked at the statistics for domestic violence. They said that every 24 minutes, someone.
Wow.
I mean, when I read that, I was like, oh my goodness. every 24 minutes, domestic violence, an average of, no, here it is, an average of 24 people per minute are victims of rape,
Mm,
physical violence, or stalking by an intimate partner. Okay, that's deep.
that's major.
That's major.
Yeah.
So I want us to spend. Okay, I'm gonna let you lead us.
Okay. One of the main ways to help still the mind is to focus on the breath. So when you're meditating, just focus on your breathing. So we can start off with like a big, expansive breath, and then just take slow, full breaths, like as we're meditating. Um, so yeah, just close your eyes, just get yourself in a space where you know that you can, be still for a moment, and just start off. Everybody, just take a deep, full breath from deep within your belly, within your diaphragm, at your core, not shallow from up your top here. Take a deep breath. Hold it. Exhale. Breathe again. Hold it. And exhale. And once we go into the silence, just continue to do that over and over again. And if thoughts are coming through your mind, it's fine. Don't try to stop them. Just allow them. Just allow them to flow through you and out of you as you continue to focus on your breath. And you'll feel your being get more still, more calm, more relaxed, more reflective, and more centered. So now we'll just breathe. Whenever you're ready, you can slowly bring yourself out of it. It doesn't have to be abrupt.
Mm.
Hmm.
Thank you so much, Elewa.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much. Oh
This
my
has been
goodness.
so awesome. Thank you so much.
I mean, I was just like at peace, and I have my feet flat, my hands like right here resting on my thigh,
Mm-hmm.
and just like, mm, I'm gonna add this to my ritual in the morning. Like I
Mm-hmm.
pray, I kiss my father and my nephew's picture every morning, but they both are deceased.
Mm.
I'm gonna have to add, like sit there and meditate and look at them, just
Yes, that's beautiful. Absolutely.
yes. Oh, Eloy, this has just been most wonderful. Guys, I hope you
Yes.
too. I want to thank you again. Now don't go away, okay? Hold on for one
Okay.
second. I'll pull you out. Guys, wasn't that awesome? All right, guys. Was that not amazing to end the night with some meditation on your Sunday night to get you ready for another week? Go look Elewa up on Instagram. Make sure you support her when her single comes out. boxes. That's going to be amazing. And if you know anyone who is dealing with mental health or domestic violence this month that has been scrolling down on the screen down there, I have a number that I want to make sure that you share it. 1-800-799-7233 for mental health. You can call that number. A domestic violence. I said it backwards. That was domestic violence. Mental health is 1-800-715-4225. Like, comment, share, guys. Like, comment, share. Tell somebody about it. Thank you so much for joining me on Sunday Night Live with Sylvia Camille. See you next Sunday, same time, same place. We're still talking about domestic violence, mental health. Have another special guest for you. Stay tuned. Stay tuned next Sunday. And don't forget to meditate.